Yes People, Why Football, and today we're talking about potential strikers to replace Alexandre Lacazette at Arsenal, who is out of contract at the end of this season. I'm not going to take credit for this video I did. This came from LT.Nobody, who DM'd me on Twitter suggesting this video, so big shout out to him. If you ever want to suggest me videos, you can do so via Twitter. My Twitter is here shown on the screen, Dennis_Sankar1, through Instagram, Sankar Sports, or even in the comments of these YouTube videos. I'm always looking for video suggestions that can be football or Arsenal related, and I'll try to do them as quickly as possible and to the best of my ability, so I produce good content for you lot. And yeah, while saying that, if you're new around it, if you enjoyed the videos I provide for free on YouTube, please consider subscribing on my road to 700. So yeah, I've looked through 3 key players, done a bit of research as to how they would fit into Arsenal, replacing Alexandre Lacazette, who is getting on in age and is set to leave at the end of this season on a free. So the first player I'm going to look at is a player in the Premier League, Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. Now, a couple of seasons ago, if someone said Dominic Calvert-Lewin to Arsenal, I'd be like, oh, come on, man, we can do better than that. But this man's had a huge turnaround. I'm going to look at his stats first. I've got them on the screen. I'm going by all seasons first. It's all of his seasons in the Premier League. So this is not counting the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. This is just Premier League games because Everton were not in Europe. And he's had 150 appearances, 43 goals. Not a great return, especially for a striker. But when you filter it to just the previous season, the season that just finished, 33 appearances in 38 games, a very good return. Shows he's not very injury prone. 16 goals in 33 games. Literally a goal basically every other game. Not bad for a striker whatsoever. Not bad for a young striker as well. 24 years of age. Plenty of time to grow. His goals per match 0.48, just under half. 7 headed goals, 8 goals with his right foot, 1 goal with his left foot. The distribution from headed goals and goals with his feet is very good because we know Arteta likes to cross the ball. Aubameyang's not the greatest in the air, so Dominic Calvert-Lewin will have he'll be an alternative, someone that can head the ball in, a bit like Olivier Giroud was for Arsenal. The goals with his left foot is a bit worrying. The fact that he's very multi-dimensional on his right foot means he's easy to predict as a defender. You just show him his left. So it's something he needs to work on, but of course being young, it is something he can develop. His shooting actually 55%, not bad. He's getting quite a few shots on target. Big chances missed 17. A bit worrying considering that that's more than his actual goals. As a striker, especially in to be a top striker, you need to be clinical and not miss a lot of big chances. But as I always said, we're looking at young players here, and he's got plenty of time to develop. 83 shots in total, 46 on targets. That is one of the options. Of course, I'm going to go through the benefits now. The benefits of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, is he's a Premier League player, Premier League striker, played at Everton for a few seasons now. So that means that he knows the league. There's no time for adjustment for this. He can hit the ground running, and he's just like an upgrade. It's kind of like it's like when you're in the same company, right? But you get promoted. You know the ins and outs of the companies. There's not really a adjustment period. You just got promoted to a higher stature. That's like Dominic Calvert-Lewin here. He knows the Premier League inside out. He's just gone to a better club in Arsenal, and hopefully he can kick on from here with better players around him and better coaches. No disrespect to Everton, because I know they are a great football club, but Arsenal, we're levels above at Everton. I know it's not shown in the table, but in terms of facilities, not even facilities actually, they're getting a new facilities, but in terms of our pedigree, training coaches, I like to believe we've actually got world-class players, although they don't show it at times. So I'm hoping that he would be able to kick on at Arsenal if he does come. He's tall as well, good, because he's good in the air. We need some tall strikers, a bit of physical players, and he's young, 24 years old. Look, is that young? No, but he's still not yet to reach his prime. He won't reach his prime for another 3 seasons or so. So we're still yet to see the best of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's getting better every season. That's the main thing for me. If they keep improving, I'd rather than someone that's regressing. Like, let's be honest, Lacazette and maybe a bit of Aubameyang are regressing. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is progressing. The bad thing, of course, is that he is an English homegrown player, which means his price will go up. And being that he is another Premier League side, they will demand more. Look, we paid 50 million for Ben White. Is Ben White a bad footballer? I don't believe that by any means. But do I believe he's a £50 million footballer? I don't. We paid over the odds for him. We're going to be paying over the odds for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm thinking around the 60-70 mark. Is he really worth that? To be honest, I don't really believe so. But he's a genuine option to replace Lacazette at Arsenal if we want to lay down a marker and spend some real money this summer. The second player I'm going to look at is a player from La Liga, Youssef En-Nesyri. I'm not really sure how to pronounce him. The Moroccan player, plays for Sevilla. He's looking like a great striker. He's also 24 years of age, And this season, in 6 games, he's scored 3 goals and had 1 assist. So, decent returns as striker, to be fair. And he's just come out of nowhere. West Ham were targeting him, but couldn't quite get him. But he's looking really, really good. He's tall as well. He's physical. And he's looking like a player that can really, really mould into that kind of striker that we need. Like the ball can bounce off him. He can link up play. He can finish as well. Of course, coming from the league, it's not like Dominic Calvert-Lewin where he knows the Premier League. So there will be an adjustment period for this player. But I'm hoping that if he shows a mentality that he can adapt to the Premier League and he can commit himself, it's definitely a change he can make. Of course, in La Liga, for those who don't know, every single player has a release clause. This is due to the fact that in the Spanish, it's not even a football thing, it's Spain in general. Everyone needs to be able to buy out their contract. I think it's a legal thing. So therefore, the footballers have a release clause in case they want to buy out their own contract. But for Youssef En-Nesyri, it's quite high at 80 million euros. Very steep. I doubt we'd be paying that much for him. He'll be cheaper than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think. I honestly think we could snag him for around the £40 million mark. If we go in, that's obviously if we go in with the money rather than just installments like we do for some players. But he's looking like a decent option as well. Of course, it is a bigger risk than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, given he's not from the Premier League, given he's only really broken out this season, a bit last season. So, it's not set in stone player, but he's definitely got a high ceiling and definitely potentially could be one of the better strikers in world football should he continue his current path. And the final player we're going to look at is Alexander Isak. Isak, the Swedish international. Now, I didn't know much about this player until I watched the Euros, and I watched Sweden in the Euros, and he was amazing. He didn't score a lot of goals, and that's something I'm going to talk about with him. But the way he imposed himself on the game, he always has an impact, whether it's through scoring or just being there in general. I find with less so Lacazette, more Aubameyang at Arsenal. Unless Aubameyang scores, I don't really see him in the game. He doesn't have a big enough impact for me. Unless he's on the score sheet, I forget he's playing, to be honest. At least with Lacazette, although he scores less than Aubameyang, he imposed himself on the game. His link-up play is good. And if we're going to be replacing that Lacazette player, that Isak is a Lacazette-like player, except he's taller than Lacazette. He is stronger than Lacazette. He's more powerful than Lacazette. He's faster than Lacazette. He can run him behind. He's young as well. Only 21 years of age, so plenty of time to develop. Of course, his stats are alarming. In 5 games played for Real Sociedad this season, he's scored 0 goals and made 0 assists. So his contributions have been poor, especially for a forward player. But if I look at his stats overall, although they're still not great, in La Liga he's played 76 games and he scored 26 goals and made 3 assists. So this is definitely a player where his stats are more than what it shows on the screen. You have to watch him play to see the impact he has. And he's still very young, 21 years old. Don't forget this. He's still got time to mature into a better player. And it's all about what Isak brings to the table. If we're looking for a pure poacher, pure goal scorer, you're not looking at Isak. You're looking at an all-round striker, someone that can bring others into play, be an outlet. He will score goals every now and then, but that's not his primary focus. So it's all about what kind of player you want. So yeah, that's been me going through all 3 of those players. And I forgot to mention Isak's release clause is 90 million euros, so very steep as well. I wouldn't be expecting to pay around that, but it would be more than Youssef En-Nesyri. So yeah, that's just been 3 players that I've considered as replacement for Alexandre Lacazette: Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton, Youssef En-Nesyri from Sevilla, and Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad. Let me know in the comments section down below if any of these 3 players you would like Arsenal to replace Lacazette, who in particular, or if there's any other options you have thought of. I've been Wifey. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing on my road to 700, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.